tees and hats. With that, let's see if my partner's on screen. And there you are. There you
are.
Yes, it glitched there for a little bit, but then you came back and you're the way we always see you. There are people just trash talking you in the audience, bro. They're like, we're here for his brain anyways, not his looks. So I was like, how dare you guys?
I'm not a good looking dude.
Oh,
Alpha is they call him baby boy because he's like the good looking dude out of all the Badlands crowd.
Listen, I can't believe that a bunch of Judases in the audience. Can't believe they said a bunch of Judases. So with that, look at people trying to say, nah, that didn't happen, mystery writer. I bet you, you know what? I bet you they're going to go deep state, try to make it seem like I said something. Mm-hmm. I see you guys. So, bro, some crazy stuff happening. Aside from it being my birthday, thank you for that shout out from you and everybody in the audience. We do see the Rumble Rants. We'll be reading the Rumble Rants at the end of the shows, include the super chats from YouTube or boosts that you guys put out there on badlandsmedia.tv. But man, 2 days away from 9/11.
I know,
Josh, and we've had people in Trump's cabinet that have been talking about we need prayer on social media. Mm-hmm. We had HSI, DOD put out posts about prayer. Trump puts out a video on prayer. Bro, what are they hinting at?
Well, it's a spiritual war, buddy. And things are about. I was talking about our buddy Game Tech the other day. I had him on my show. And he said that from one of his sources, that the deployment of the National Guard isn't about sleeper cells or illegal aliens, but it's about aliens. And I said, what? And he goes, I know. He goes, this is like completely fringe. But from what I'm hearing is that there's the idea that there's extraterrestrials inside of our civilization that look just like us, and they're going after them. So I don't know, but I think that, you know what I really want to think it is, Alpha? Is that what people are about to learn is going to absolutely shock them to their core. And I think that there's a good Q post to bring up for this. But go ahead. I know you're going to say something.
I was told this was back in, it had to be either right before Trump picked up the presidency or shortly thereafter. And at that time, it looked like the window was going to be, if I remember correctly, March. Mm-hmm. And what they were explaining to me is they're like, bro, if a UFO showed up in your driveway and I popped my head out the hatch and said, hey, Alpha, jump in here. He goes, that's more believable than some of the stuff that I'm hearing.
Yes.
I was like, wait.
Now, we'll just talk very briefly on the UFO topic, because today there was a congressional hearing on this where a few different second off whistleblowers testified, but George Knapp testified. But they brought this leaked video. And this is pretty profound, guys. I want everybody to understand what they're seeing when they watch this video. This is a MQ-9 Reaper video, drone video. This object right here in the center is a UAP, an unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Are you aware of anything?
That right there that flew at it is a Hellfire missile. Watch what happens to the Hellfire missile.
And the government, United States government arsenal that can split a Hellfire missile like this?
No.
And do whatever blob thing it did and then keep going? Nothing?
Nothing.
All right. How about you, Chief Wiggins?
Nothing.
We don't have things that can do that, people. That is something else. So I don't know if a lot of it has to do with this stuff. I think what it is I think it goes to reference Q34. My fellow Americans, over the course of the next several days, you'll undoubtedly realize that we are taking back our country, the land of the free, from evil tyrants that wish to do us harm and destroy the last remaining refuge of shining light. I think that that's what this is about. And if we look at everything that's been happening, we talked a little bit last week about the psyops that are playing out. Not on us, on the left. Like, you have Trump is dead and Trump is sick and he's not in control, and that he's not calling the shots and he's a body double. You have that Kamala Harris actually won the 2024 election. You have that Trump's in the Epstein files. We find out he's a confidential informant for the FBI that actually threw Epstein under the bus, right? But these are psyops that I believe are being organized for a specific reason. And that is to get the rest of the country, the moderates, the independents, the Democrats who are outraged by Trump, to start looking into these things. Voter fraud, right? I mean, the voter fraud conspiracy theory that is going on right now in the left is that Donald Trump hacked the ESS election machines and stole the vote.
Crazy, right?
Yeah, because that's like an inversion of what happened in 2020.
It's like,
So
wait, you guys are being election deniers now?
right. So, but here's the key: is that gets them looking at this information. It gets them looking at, how do you steal an election through the election machines? And then they realize, oh, our elections are hackable. So then when the information actually does come out, it's way more acceptable and believable by the masses. And I think a lot of that psychological warfare is prepping them for what is about to come. Because right now, for everybody out there, we are still in drip. We haven't hit flood yet. I honestly think the gas pedal is going to hit September 11th because it's a symbolic anniversary. Now, we talked a little bit about this symbolic anniversary. Now, did you catch any of Catherine Herridge's post today about September 11th?
A little bit of it. I saw the stuff that people posted on it, so I saw the comments to it and the headlines, but I didn't actually go into the content.
So, number one is I respect Catherine Herridge, and this piece of work that she just did is a piece of shit. And the reason I'll say that is because she says newly declassified government documents show that Saudi Arabia was directly involved as early as 1998 and all of this stuff. Well, here's the thing, Catherine, that the information that you are looking at is the alibi data trail. What I mean by that is they were covering their tracks and their ass with information that they planted for an alibi, and that's what she's reporting on. She's not reporting on what really happened, what Brad, you and I, and Codex 911 talk about. But one part of important information that she talked about today goes to a delta that we have coming up here on September 11th. And something that we pointed out before. And this is these two Q posts on September 11th, 2020. Okay? Now, they're very, very long. They look like twin towers. Right? September 11th, twin towers. And you have John Brennan and James Comey. And now these, we know, DOJ began investigating James Comey and John Brennan was announced in March of 2025. So if a grand jury was impaneled, we could see indictments come this week. Really, we could. It would be that fast. Now, why would Q symbolize September 11th, Twin Towers, James Comey and John Brennan? Well, what Catherine actually reported on today was that Saudi Arabian nationals were recruited by the CIA and brought to the United States, and they were scoping out the country. Now, you remember that the 19 hijackers, quote unquote, the patsies, were recruited by the CIA and then trained by the FBI. Now, this is really, really important because who was the CIA station chief in Saudi Arabia that oversaw all operations in Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, and the Middle East from 1994 to 1998, at the same time that all of these men would have been recruited and brought into the FBI programs?
Tell me.
John Brennan. Okay? So there's point one. Well, what about James Comey?
I'll say there's dot one right there.
What about James Comey? People don't know James Comey's connections to September 11th. Well, actually, it's quite interesting. So on September 11th, 2001, James Comey was the head attorney at the Eastern District of Virginia. So he took over the investigation of the Pentagon 9/11 terrorist attack. So from September 11th to December 31st, he investigated, controlled the handling of all intel related to the September 11th Pentagon attack. Well, coincidentally, January 1st, he gets reassigned to SDNY, Southern District of New York, and he takes over the whole investigation into the terrorist attacks on the Twin Towers. So if you wanted to implement fake information and make sure that the narrative is aligned towards a patsy so that when the 9/11 Commission comes about there, that all of this information is nicely organized for them, you put your guys in there. Well, that was James Comey. Who was the recruiter? John Brennan. So I think that this is very serendipitous that this anniversary is coming up. And I think that this is what we're preparing for because we know at the time that the first arrest happens, that's when things are going to begin to kick off. But Donald Trump, he has this kind of circle of influence right now. He has cornered all of the deep state positions, if we looked at the global chessboard, 5D chess, right? What do I mean by that? Well, we got China, we got Iran, we got Venezuela, we got the cartels, we got the gangs, we got the illegal immigrants that came to our country, Al Qaeda, Hezbollah, Hamas, Houthis. We got Chinese military age males in our country. Well, how do you ensure that they don't rise up? Well, you checkmate the people who are giving them orders. And Donald Trump has absolutely checkmated them. Donald Trump today, he put out to the EU that you will put 150% tariffs on China and India. And the EU did it. What does that tell you? That Donald Trump is controlling the shots in the EU, that when he says something, they do it. Well, why is that? Because he has leverage over them in some way, shape, or form. China's been eerily silent as of lately. And what we learned 2 days ago is that Microsoft, Oracle, and Intel, which, by the way, U.S. America owns 10% of Intel. Oracle is directly associated with the trillions of dollars flowing into Abilene, Texas, and Trump is getting a portion of their company as well. And Microsoft, obviously, Bill Gates was just at the White House last week, and that's a story we'll talk about in a few minutes. But that they built out China's defense and intelligence infrastructure based upon their software systems. And now Trump owns parts of those companies.
And don't forget, especially with regards to Microsoft, that you had Hegseth last week, and we talked about, and we touched on that, where he said,
Sure.
hey, we found out that they made back doors, and that is done. Again, before the meeting happened. And as you're articulating this and you're laying it out, I just want people to remember that timeline. Hegseth identifies it, says they're investigating it, says they're not using it no more. Then you have the meeting. Then you have Josh bringing up this stuff. That's not happenstance, folks. That is strategic operational planning that you're seeing right there.
Well, this is so interesting you bring this up.
Or they're the luckiest guys on earth. And I don't think we're buying that for 1 second.
Well, and we talked about the Azure hack and the DOD hack and into the nuclear arsenal and all that stuff. I've talked about this finally, right? So something happened last week on September 6th, okay? Microsoft reports multiple international subsea cables were cut in the Red Sea, impacting the Azure cloud platform. This was reported for 1 day and then disappeared. Nobody's saying anything. It's not Russia did this or China did this or Iran did this. It was in the news for 1 day, then gone. Who do you think did it? Possibility this actually was the U.S. who did it. Because Hegseth came out the same day and said, what? It's over.
Oh, I'm tracking. I'm seeing what you're saying now.
Hegseth came out the same day about the hack and said, we are over it.
Unplugged it. Damn.
I mean, think about that, though. Like, that's how things are lining up right now. Dude, like, right now, this is a Q artist or Anon's wet dream with what's happening right now. Like, I'm busy, like, from the time I wake up to the time I go to sleep, just like, oh my God, oh my goodness, this is nuts. This is crazy. I can't believe this is happening.
It's funny when I do the Monday night shows and I'm, lining up the stuff from the prior week, leading up to Monday. And as I'm going there, obviously the things become more relevant. And there's even times, the last couple hours before we go live on the show and you do the last minute, dive to see what's on the surface of things. And I'm like, oh, we got to talk about this on the show. Oh, and then all of a sudden, oh, this makes sense with that. And it's like when you're doing a puzzle and you got so much of it put together that as you start to flip pieces, you immediately know where it goes. You're like, that goes there and that goes there. And you've mentioned grand jury a few times. A couple of days ago, I reached out to you on something. And you're just like,
that was crazy, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. And
we'll get into that, people. We'll talk about that here in a minute.
You guys are going to like that one a lot.
So I want to actually start with a prediction we made last week. Okay. So last week we talked about specifically Venezuela. And that the Trump administration was going to do something in Venezuela. And we said, we're going to war. Prepare for war. Trump is going to attack Venezuela. The next day, the U.S. military blew what we call a go fast out of the water, right? Now, I'm going to pull up the comms here in a second of what Trump said, because we actually, I covered it on my show, but this is the video of the go fast, okay? Now, Trump said that 11 terrorists were killed. Now, Alpha, everybody in the audience, Boats Lawson knows what I'm talking about here. He was with me. This is what we did in the South Pacific. That vessel right there is 15 to 20 feet tall. It has 3 outboard motors. It has about 5 to 10 gallon gas cans on board. Underneath where they're standing on is a false floor, and underneath that is about a ton of cocaine. That boat has room for 3 to 5 people max, and the more people you have on board, the less cocaine and gas it can carry. Okay? So where do you get 11 from?
You do not.
Right. But Trump says 11 terrorists killed, and they ended it with 11 exclamation points. Now, this was interesting to me. So a friend of mine reached out to me and said, Josh, there was more than one vessel struck. And I said, oh, and this person just happens to be somebody who would know, right? And I'm like, oh. And they said, what's really interesting is you posted on your X that it was an MQ-9 Reaper with a Hellfire. Person said, go back and watch the video again. And I said, wait a minute, what? Did I miss this? And so I'm watching the video, and here's where you see the video strike. Okay? Boom, right there. Now, Alpha, have you ever launched ordnance?
I have not.
Okay. You launch a Hellfire missile at a vessel about 20 feet long. When that Hellfire missile makes impact, what's going to happen to that vessel? Even if it was just a kinetic warhead. That vessel's going to go
100%. You've seen, everybody's seen videos of that. So
look, the vessel's completely intact. The vessel is completely intact. Right there. The vessel did not, you don't see any debris fly out of the vessel. You don't see any debris. No debris. So what took it down? Well, this person hit it towards me and said, did you see that Donald Trump posted something about Delta Airlines and airmen?
It's something that didn't have mass.
This person said, think airliner. And I said, well, what would be a U.S. Air Force equivalent of something the size of an airliner that potentially could take out that without a missile launch? And then it hit me. I saw it and I go, oh my God. AC-130 gunship with an AHEL, aerial high energy laser, directed energy weapon. Guys, Trump took that vessel out with a directed energy weapon.
The evidence is in the video.
The evidence is in the video. It's right there. The vessel, there's no kinetic strike on the vessel. There's no kinetic strike.
Didn't even catch it the first time because I was so pumped up about him taking out a freaking narco terrorist.
Me either.
And of course, once you mention it, it's just like there's nothing.
Because any type of ordnance that hits that, I don't care if it's a kinetic warhead, okay, inert kinetic warhead. It's going to blow that. Because if you look at the video, firstly, if that was a missile. All right. Number one thing you have to ask yourself is, where is it? Right there in the frames. You would see the missile come in the frames. You don't. No missile comes in the frames. What you get, though, is you get a reiteration of that one line. If you look to the right, to the right, you'll see a kind of a shining of that light. So you see the wake behind the ship.
Right.
See how the right where it breaks off a little bit?
I do.
Right there. Watch that area.
Oh, I see what you're talking about.
Did you see it? The air vaporized into water mist. But if there was a missile, you would see the missile hit. No kinetic impact.
And those boats, just so people know, are they're primarily made up of fiberglass and aluminum. That's it.
Yeah, that one's probably fiberglass. Really easy. I mean, we sink them in 5 minutes with 25 Mike or twin 50s.
Damn, how did we miss that one the first time around?
Everybody, I'm the only one talking about it. I'm the only one that's mentioned it. Nobody even blinks an eye. There's people on there saying it was a directed energy weapon. I agree with you. It was, and I think I can prove it. So that was pretty interesting. But, maybe let's talk about the Venezuela stuff, because I think that this is really important, especially the symbology of what just happened the last few days and weeks, especially with the Department of War. Oh, yeah.
We're both locked in on that one, man, all day.
Well, did you notice the executive order and what it said?
Go for it. Fire it off. I read it, but fire it off so you can refresh.
It says restoring
the
United States Department of War. Restoring. That's an incredible word right there to utilize, right? So notice the wording. Restoring the United States Department of War. July 27th, 1789. Congress passed an act to establish an executive department to be denominated the Department of War. So Donald Trump reinitiated that. Its purpose, this is where it's important. Do you remember when Donald Trump posted the day before about the attack on the Venezuelan vessel? He said, on my orders. This is so telling. The original purpose of the Department of War from July 27th, 1789. The department's original purpose was to centralize and formalize the management of the United States military under the president's authority, ensuring an organized, accountable system for military administration, supply, and strategy, as in commander-in-chief. Now, interesting enough, is the delta that aligns with that talks about commander-in-chief of the military. In other words, Donald Trump just restored full control and power of the United States military under his authority. That's why that when you hear Tulsi Gabbard talk, she goes, at the president's direction. Pam Bondi, at the president's direction. Kash Patel, at the president's direction. Pete Hegseth, at the president's command. Trump is in full military control of this country. Exactly what we were talking about last week. But guys, it gets better. So I don't usually stray away from like Trump, Scavino, Flynn sometimes for Q deltas and timestamps. This one was uncanny. You could not miss this one. The Department of War Rapid Response page on X. Right here. Okay?
Okay. I've seen this one.
They post war.gov.
Did you go to the website?
I did not go to the website yet, but I'm Central Time Frame, so this was posted at Eastern Time Frame, which is at 17:17 Eastern Time. Do you understand what's happening? Think optics. Now, think about it. What is happening? Donald Trump is taking military power and control. Military is the only way, people. This is why the Democrats are panicking. This is why the left, the deep state, are panicking. Trump has taken complete military control over the country, not in a bad way. And I reiterated this last week when we talked about Q14 and Tulsi Gabbard. How do you get the military intelligence over command of all three-letter agencies to bring about criminal prosecutions? Well, you have to get a military intelligence officer over every three-letter agency. Well, you do right now, even though it's kind of tradition that if you're a military officer and you take an executive branch position, that you resign your commission. Tulsi Gabbard's still a lieutenant colonel. We have a United States Army officer directly overseeing DNI. And she's the one that keeps on finding all of this burn bag data and all of this hidden data. They found more today. They're not finding it, guys. It's coming directly out from the military. Now,
so just real quick. So when you go to the website here, I'll show it to you guys real quick. And for those that saw the Just Alpha show last night, you caught this. But when you scrolled all the way down, they removed it sometime between midnight and today's show, because now when you go, it's gone. But what they had at the bottom of the page, right here where this section is, was this photo right here.
There it is.
That's what was on war.gov yesterday.
14. You know, we are in one of the most interesting times in the world now. Let's go even further. Donald Trump posted this on True Social at 5:05 p.m. Mine is Central Time, so it's going to say 4:05. So that's 17:05 or 5:05. Post 17:05. You'll soon know why. What does he talk about? Trump signs executive orders. This is about the Department of War. This is the video that Trump posted about him signing the Department of War executive order. He posted at 17:05. Post 17:05. You'll soon know why. So I was like, whoa, this is crazy. That's so cool, right? Well, he didn't stop there, Alpha. It gets better. Now, just that one is kind of a coincidence, right? Okay, maybe it's just a coincidence. But what does he do then?
Doubles down.
9/6. On 9/6, he posts this one. I love the smell of deportations in the morning. He goes, Chicago about to find out why it's called the Department of War. Now think about what just happened there. A few days before, he posted 17:05 about establishing the Department of War. That goes to Q post, you'll soon know why. And then a day later, he posts Chicago about to find out why it's called the Department of War.
And we're going to come back.
Not a coincidence.
And we're going to come back to that because the White House reposted that. And when we get to that, you know, I'll bring it up now just because in case it's relevant. And because when I saw this, and you know, we've talked about this, I've shared it with my audience. As a detective, there's certain things as when something catches your eye, you write it down, you don't forget. And so let me bring this up on the screen for you. So this is the White House reposting it. And it has 3 yellow helicopters.
Yes.
And I found that very interesting.
Go to the picture. Go to the picture.
Yeah, there's 3 red helicopters.
Not 5,
so,
but yeah.
5. Where do you see the 5th?
There's 2 right behind those ones.
Oh, okay. No, so yeah, you have the ones that are in the picture, but I'm saying specifically here in the emojis.
Yep.
You have 3 red ones that correlate with 3 yellow ones. So is this stop, slow down, yield, and then we're waiting for green to go? Who knows? Who knows? Or you have, this is a September 6th. This is 9:07 my time. So this would be 10:11. This would be 12:07 in the afternoon if we're going off East Coast time. And so when I searched out first, I was looking for yellow and something that had a helicopter or something like that. I'm trying to remember how I came to this particular post.
Oh, I know what post this is.
Here it is. So it has yellow and helicopter. So this is what I was looking for. So here in this section, it says, and just so everybody that wants to find it, this is post 179, November 21st, 2017. Mm-hmm. And actually, instead of going from bottom to top, I'll just start from this one here. It says, what stringer was provided 2 days prior to event, which is funny that we're talking about this today because 2 days from now is 9/11. And then it has obviously conference, a bunch of letters and characters. Yes. Green 1 at 0600. Bunker, apple, yellow, sky +1. Confirm 0600 time. Yes. Green 0600 time. Base green, yellow, condition yellow, air. What were the keywords in the stringer? Confirm. Green, yellow, sky. Again, guide to reading map. Legend, past provides the future. Questions provide the answers. Lord DR, the 2 pluses. Target, who was the pilot of the plane? Green. What was countered? Unknown to U.S. Who was on the ground outside shortly before the collision? Unnamed, Rothschild. Who was in the home shortly before the collision? Unknown to us now. Was dog grooming event. Learn to read the map. Try really hard is like herding kittens in here sometimes. We may have overestimated your ability. You came to us for certain strengths, but there are weaknesses as well, some being exploited, not enough focus. Answer the questions, build the big picture, break it back down, make memes for the normies to calm and educate. So we'll be ready for the storm, which plays into something later on something General Flynn said a few days ago. And then you get into the actual post itself. Shadow War, Act 2, Scene 4, movie idea, thoughts, characters. Good guy, pilot of the helicopter. Bad guy, pilot of the plane. targets on ground and in home story. Upon receipt of the go code, good guy flies during a blackout window provided by unknown agency with unknowns, ordinary people by the look of it, to a select location regarding highly classified mission. Who was given the go order by X to execute delivery 3 for care. Bad guy intercepts message due to rogue operator embedded in tactical observation unit and takes out good guy by a top down and invisible attack. Mission failure. Encore. What has since occurred by targets. Now, just to put a lot of this into perspective, Josh, last week, I put out a post. As a matter of fact, let me pull this off. If you can comment to that, and I want to find this post.
Oh, I can comment. Does anybody want to know the history on that?
Absolutely. Please set us
So
up.
the reason